Welcome to Vibe Osmosis. How are you all today?
I'm good.
Doing good.
Doing great.
I've been listening to your music. You guys have an album out that's pretty weird and wild. It's like was last chance at the pharmacy or last stop at the pharmacy.
Yeah, that was our previous album. We just released another album called You're Somebody's World, and we released that in
Yeah, I have seen that too.
yeah.
You saw the Frog album?
Yeah. I was going to ask you how long have you guys been a band first off?
This lineup, probably about 3 years. So we've been kind of tinkering with this whole project for about 5. But with this kind of sound and the members we have now, it's been about 3 years.
What's the struggles about being in a band together?
Mostly just getting everyone coordinated and aligned.
There's too many people.
One of them is currently not in this interview. He's on tour right now with another band.
But
you guys just did a tour though, right?
Yeah.
and he was home for 4 days and then went right back on the road again. But yeah, we did a nice little tour down through New Orleans and Texas and up to Chicago and had a real nice time. Met some fun people.
All right, well, let's get into the Vibe Osmosis questions. We'll go one by one. What's your name? How old are you? And do you know what your name means?
What does that last question mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? Like,
What is
Yeah, if you know like the definition or like the behind scenes of your name.
all right, you start, Jackie.
Okay. My name is Jackie Schweitzer. I'm 27. Do you want like meaning of first and last name or first name only?
However you interpret the question.
Okay, I'm only going to do first name because I don't know what the last name means. I was named after Jackie Onassis. So that's my meaning.
I'm Sam. I'm 26, and I'm pretty sure that Sam means like son of God or something, right? Doesn't it?
I don't know.
Something the like literal meanings related to God. I'm an atheist, by the way.
Kevin Hall, 33. I think my name means kind in Gaelic.
Nice.
My name is Patrick Applebeck. I'm 32. Patrick means nobleman or father, coming from the Latin, what is it? Patronius?
Did you look that up?
And then Applebeck is appleback in German, so I'm a noble apple picker. What about you?
Well, I mean, my name's Jeffrey, Spirit Navigators. I think Spirit Navigators means that you can travel anywhere you want to outside of your body. I'm 27, and but go into like the occupation, like who does what in the band.
Yeah, I do vocals, pedals, and then on one song I'm playing a glockenspiel.
I don't play any instruments. I'm just kind of the actor slash clown and or like monster. I think that covers.
Yeah, I don't think you saw Sam. I don't think Sam played in the show that we played with you.
Yeah.
But Sam's our resident performance artist, and I think at our show with you,
We used a goat.
yeah, we were selling a goat, but
Yeah.
if Sam had been at that show, Sam would have been like the auctioneer or the goat herder or something like that.
Or the goat.
Or the goat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I play synthesizers and occasionally on live or in studio recordings, traditional piano.
And then I play drums and electronic drums.
What's like your favorite part about being in a band together? What's like the best thing that comes up out of it besides the music?
We have a lot of fun. It literally is like most practice and stuff is like us like joking around about things and then planning the sets. They're like the performance aspect is usually about some kind of joke or like just some like ridiculous idea that we find funny and then just pushing it as far as we can.
Yeah. And I guess this is about the music, but I wouldn't really be able to play this type of music with other people. It's definitely the chemistry of the people involved that allows us to make this weird and wacky shit. So
Yeah, and to bring that up, like what also inspires the like the artistic direction that you guys bring to it, because you guys always do something different for your shows too.
Yeah. Essentially we'll have little like brainstorming sessions where we come up with a whole bunch of ideas and then we kind of go back to that list and like combine two of those ideas or like reimagine one of those ideas, and so it goes through like a second process of like figuring out what we want to do. But a lot of the like decisions on like what we're doing are usually made just through the idea of like, wouldn't that be funny if I got up on stage and, you know, sacrificed a goat, like, and or like
Was a cat.
was a cat.
Yeah.
Or like, wouldn't it be funny if I was like, you know, hanging around as Nosferatu during a set, or like kind of just trying to take that idea and make it more entertaining and like I guess like
Accessible for like an audience.
yeah.
And then trying to present it in a way that like people can understand, but I don't think they're going to ever understand fully like where we come up with these ideas.
It might not necessarily make sense,
Yeah.
but they can kind of understand what is generally happening.
And we're always trying to do something that's like funny.
Yeah.
Like that like someone's going to like either smile about or laugh about.
Yeah.
While like the music is like contouring that in like an extreme way where a lot of it's just really dark. So doing like the balance of the two, I think that's why people would go to our shows, and just to see something new. And it really like annotates like how we're doing like the arc of music, and like creates more like
a narrative flow
to
the shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you all believe in astrology? Follow?
yeah.
I think it's fun.
But do you guys know your astrology signs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Do you all feel indifferent about how it relates to you?
Unfortunately, whenever I did look it up, it's like pretty on the point, and that makes me uncomfortable.
Too accurate.
Too accurate. Like it's way too accurate to me.
What do you think we are?
Oh, great
Yeah.
question.
I would say everybody's a different sign. I'd be like,
Oh, no. Yeah.
no.
Who's got the same? There's two here with the same one.
On the couch.
You got a 50-50 shot.
Mm-hmm.
On the couch, yeah. I'm gonna go for the two in the middle.
Wrong.
No. Sam and I are both Leos.
Oh wow, okay.
What are you?
They say I'm a Scorpio, but I'm also on the cusp of not believing. All right, so do you have a favorite memory of like working together musically, artistically?
Ooh.
Well, there's one bit that was like a really bad memory, but then it turned good quickly and it was reassuring. There was one moment when Jackie dove into a cardboard box directly onto the concrete, and we definitely thought she had broken her neck for a second. but then she started moving around and seemed fine. So that relief was very, very strong. We were very happy that she was alive and healthy. So that was a good positive memory.
Yeah, I felt the same. Yeah, I was glad I was alive and I didn't break anything or like break my nose, because that's what I thought I did when I first unpacked it. I thought I broke my nose, but
No blood? Did it hurt?
no blood. It hurt a lot. Yeah, because it was kind of like face first, and I'm not really good at diving. Like, I'm not a swimmer, so it, like, the impulse, like, that was like for like a show. I think that's like the most extreme I felt, like, of an impulse of like, yeah, just do it. And then I didn't practice, nothing, and I stopped doing those kind of things afterwards.
We just have a song that starts with Jackie doing kind of a swelling scream, and she did the scream while she jumped, and the second she hit the ground, the scream just cut off. So I was really sure she was at the very minimum, like unconscious. So when the box started moving around and it seemed like she was fine, it was, yeah, quickly going from like the worst possible thing to like, okay, everyone's healthy. So
I don't know. I feel like mine would probably be the very first show we all did together, or I think the cult set.
Yeah.
Where we handed out like 38 red robes to the entire audience, and I got them all to destroy an effigy, and like seeing the entire crowd just lose their minds, like ripping this cardboard man apart into little microscopic pieces, was pretty excellent.
They were so into it too. Like, they were doing like kind of baptizing themselves with like red paint.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we
had a
passed.
drum circle.
Yeah.
We had a goat sacrifice.
We passed out like conspiracy novels at the end, and then what really like sold me on like they were into it was when a girl came up to me and she was like, "Do you have more books? I gave mine away and I regret it." And I was like, I don't think these books are for you then. If you want them that bad, I don't think I'm going to find a book for you. But yeah, I think like I don't have I think like my favorite, like, these are all relating to the shows, because I think that's like when we're really having like the most fun, is like when everything's planned out and then we just kind of execute it in a way. Like, my favorite one was the Sims set. Yeah, where we passed out, like, Sam made a bunch of like headbands with like the Sims symbol.
The little diamond, little green diamond.
Mm-hmm. So we had about like 50 of them or so. So like the bar that we were playing at, like the bartenders wore them, and then we would just look out to like a sea of Sims, which just like felt like the most like surreal situation I've ever seen in an audience.
Like a lot of gibberish, you know.
Kevin.
I like how in Sims nobody can ever tell like what the fuck they're actually saying, but we get their body language to some degree unless they're dead. Grim Reaper comes.
Yeah, exactly. What'd you like, Kevin?
There's always a point during when you're working on new material where you can tell that the idea is sticking to the wall. Like it's obviously not going to be fully fleshed out performance-wise, but it seems like it's gradually taking shape, and that's always a good sign that you have material that works.
Yeah, let's get into the music aspect, because you have a really diverse and weird sound, and also some of it's like electronic and some of it's very like saxophone, and you know, a lot of going on. So like, what's kind of the process for writing these songs?
I think a lot of it varies. in the beginning, it was like I was coming up with stuff, and then the guys kind of like molded around that. And then more lately, it was like either Eric playing something like a little riff, or like a lot of it's now been Kevin starting the songs, where he just like comes up with something and then we just start working towards that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say at this stage it's about probably 30% everybody, where there will be a beat that starts it or a keyboard line that starts it, and just kind of build from there. But it's a lot of like people come in with an idea, like Kevin will come in with like a initiation idea, or I'll come in with a beat and then we'll extrapolate from there and try to write a bunch of little parts so we can all stick together into something bigger.
You want to add to that?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it, especially now, it's more the sound and the timbre are kind of driving the themes that we'll write, and then from there everything else kind of revolves around that.
Definitely. I mean, we all have, like, all four of us have ways to really mold our sound. Like, saxophone's an aerophone, a digital saxophone, so we can put whatever sounds we want in there. Same with the keyboard, same with the electronic drums, same with the vocals have pedals on them. So really, we can, if we come up with a cool rhythm or a cool melody, but the sounds aren't really hitting, it's less likely to hit than if we get a really interesting like sound palette first, and that can definitely be the final key to make something start to stick and start to work. So yeah, I would definitely agree. The sound and the timbre is extremely important to feeling our interest in the songs and feeling what actually like is going to make an impact.
Yeah, and a lot of times, just like going off that it's almost like substitution, where you can just like come up with the rhythm first, and then maybe fill in the melody after.
Yeah,
if there is one.
Yeah, there's a big if. Yeah, which is great.
What would you say is the recording process like for you all?
Oh, pretty exhausting. What I've always, so in my experience, the two ways you can record are either go to a studio and pay for it, and which means you're under the gun. You know, time is money. You're losing money every second. So you really have to go quickly, but also execute, correctly under pressure. And that the other way is you record yourself, which can lead to just really insane perfectionism, where you track something again and again and again, and then a month will go by and you're like, oh, I've got a better way to play this. Let's do it again. And that's its own horrible bag of worms. And ours is definitely always go to a place with a strict timeline, get it done. So it definitely is a process where we force ourselves to get it out, because I think we would definitely be really tinkering a long time if we were doing it entirely ourselves. It's a lot of trying to find the best way to make the songs like kind of be a snapshot of that moment, which definitely means that we'll write the songs, we'll record them, but then they still might evolve like a year or two down the road. There's some songs we play now that don't really sound too much like the record, just because they've evolved since then. But we are trying to like provide a snapshot of like, this is us in 2023, rather than this is like the most picked over version of the song forever.
Yeah, usually when we record, at least the basic tracking is all fully fledged out. We go into the studio in advance with those ideas already pretty concrete, and it's mostly just the mixing process that's arduous, and then occasionally just because of the way we mix that, you know, it may take us will be like an extended period of time in between when we track and then like mixing sessions where we have time to reflect on what's recorded, and then maybe you can look in terms of the arrangement and try and think about like where you'll do, like where we'll add like overdubs or those kinds of studio things that we wouldn't necessarily do live either.
Yeah, and we do have a pretty dense sound, so we're definitely fortunate enough to work with someone we've been working with John Hoffman from like Vacation and Beef and a bunch of other bands. He's mixed our last 3 records, and he definitely knows how to dial in our sound, but we do have a lot of weird layers, and it is like pretty thick, so and we want everything to be clear and heard, but also not like hyper polished. And John might be moving away, so we are trying to figure out the next process, if we're gonna travel out to see him or have him mix it remotely. But it's definitely nice to have someone that we've worked with for a long time and been able to hammer out. He knows what we want to sound like, and we know he can get it done. So.
Yeah, I was going to add to that too. Like, I think like working with this specific person has definitely made things a lot smoother, because like I don't know the exact terminology with like music and stuff like that. Like, it's like more of an outsider point of view. So like I can tell like John, like I want this texture to be like this. Like I want to sound like a little like vermin or something like that. Like, how can we do this? And then he finds the right like distortion or pedal or effect. Like he like understands like what I'm doing. So for recording, like I feel very, very comfortable. And I think that's a big key of being comfortable with whoever's producing your album, because it just makes things go smoother, and then just not feeling like as under the gun, because working with someone who like wants the best for you has been like, for me, that's like the best part of the recording process.
Yeah, I've never worked with any apathetic producers, or even worse, like resentful producers, but I've definitely heard horror stories of that, and it's very nice to have someone who's down to get weird and is our friend and just a good person and a good producer.
You want to add anything else? Anyone?
Recording, it's a pretty good snapshot of the recording process.
Yeah, Sam's not in the recording process usually.
We usually record in about all the basic instrumental stuff, other than overdubs, usually gets done in about 2.5 days, and then it's about another week of mixing, probably another like 7 days to mix.
And if I'm on the album, it's always just like a recorded snippet of my dialogue from a set, and we do that like separately and just add it later.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a classic Bible question. One random fact about yourself.
I have a concave chest.
That's true.
Yeah.
My sternum bends in.
Pat's got a dent.
You can get body facts.
We always do body facts.
Body facts, yeah. I have a benign tumor on my wrist that can't be removed. That's pretty fun.
It's just described as a bag of worms.
Yeah, the doctors described it as a bag of worms, which I don't think is like a medical term. I looked it up, and it's sharing the walls of my nerves. So it does, like, I work in like art practices and stuff like that, so it does, I kind of like phantom thread myself, I guess is a good word to say. Like, I make a situation where like I can't work as much with my hands as I want to. Yeah, you guys go.
I have an extra bone in my left foot that I found out I had when I sprained, or when I bruised it playing basketball.
Nice. These are all so good. It's gonna be like really lame. Um, the middle toe on my right foot is significantly longer than the middle toe on my left foot, to the point where it's very noticeable if I'm barefoot that something's wrong.
Since we're doing body facts, I have a third nipple, and my cousin,
Whoa!
yeah, my cousin used to call me Tits McGee. That really stuck for a while. So here's a funny vibe osmosis question. You know, it's a classic one too. You were stranded on an island and you could only bring one thing with you. What would you take?
Water filter.
Okay, that's really practical.
Um,
Um,
motorboat.
these are
And satellite phone.
Damn it. I don't know. I think if I was stranded, I would just accept it. So I would bring some like whittling tools and just make like a bunch of like sculpture things. So when I die, I just scare the shit out of someone that comes to the island. Like, you know, Blair.
Somebody else will get stranded there.
Yeah, I'm assuming. If I got there, someone else has to get there. Yeah.
What's your deepest fears? Do you care to share them?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm going to get killed by the government.
That's a fear. I guess losing my hand. I think that's my deepest fear. If like back to the body, if like something happens with this benign tumor and I have to like amputate my arm, I think that's my biggest fear. Yeah.
Well, you're living in the future. You become like Anakin or something. Have an extra arm.
I could have like the sickest like robot arm where I could like punch walls, destroy bricks.
Dude, Robo Jackie.
Yeah, Robo Jackie would be really, really cool. But I don't think we're there yet with the technology, so I'd have some years of like heavy depression. So that's what I would fear for.
Yeah, loss of any limbs or sight or hearing. Kind of need all 8.
All 8?
Wait,
Ear, eye, foot, hand.
I mean, you did have that eye patch for a minute.
You did have an eye patch.
Yeah, but VR is about to start getting really good.
Okay.
Right.
That's good. So your eyes are fine.
Eyes are fine. I got some floaters.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'd say loss of being in a situation I have no control over, like a nuclear holocaust. That's pretty, getting killed by the government that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like how we just got split into 2 groups where it's like killed by the government, loss of a body part.
Loss of a body part by the government.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the government takes away my hand for research.
Government repo on your fucking body parts.
So, what kind of music do you all like and listen to, and what kind of music would you say inspired the band as well?
I think, like for me, I try not to listen to music that is close to what we do, because I feel like that would just start influencing me personally to start like subconsciously copying another vocalist or something, which I would never ever want to do. I see that as really limiting. So like music wise, like I vary pretty heavily of like lots of funk music and then lots of like hyper pop, and then just like Kate Bush especially. That was like number 1. And then what started the band was like me and Patrick are the original members, like we're the only original. And I think for me, when Patrick started showing me artists like Sophie and stuff like that, and like me understanding that you can do incredibly weird textures and it's still like understandable. That's what kind of started it on my end.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of pop, a lot of metal, and a lot of right now I'm listening to a lot of DJ Sabrina, the teenage DJ, who's like this outsider house artist, but she's amazing, but just like really uplifting house music.
I would kind of put mine into like two classifications, like either like research music where I'm just like listening to stuff, or I'm just listening to the material, not even necessarily enjoying it, but trying to just listen, like focus on what sounds are being produced. And then a lot of techno, I guess, and then slowly a lot of techno, some a lot of hip hop. Used to listen to a lot of metal and punk, but not so much now. Yeah.
I feel like I tend to go back and forth between like stuff like Machine Girl and Sophie, and like we recently played with this person called Digimechanoid, and I've been really like listening to them a lot. They're really cool. And then also like a lot of older school things like disco, obviously, and then like going back even to like 40s and 50s stuff a lot, and then like a lot of like international music, like just from all over the place. Like there's this one thing called like music from like cell phones in the Sahara Desert or something, which is like,
that's really good.
Yeah, it's like these guys who like their only method of like file sharing is like these old ass SIM cards. So they'll like go through the desert and like share music on these SIM cards, and like somebody compiled like a list of like all these like Saharan like dudes who play guitar, and it's like really good.
What about you?
Music wise lately, Toki Monster, if you're familiar, kind of like weird, a lot of it, Papadozio, Pretty Lights, that's just some of like the stuff I've been like listening to lately. I mean, I'm really into Promised Land's new album. It's been like long wait. But let's get into favorite movies.
Metallica, some kind of monster.
It's really good.
Just
Metallica did a really cool soundtrack for Paradise Lost, that documentary about the boys that were
I watched that back in the day. Yeah. That's a good documentary.
terrifying.
It's crazy they finally got out. But the some kind of monster is just, it's really great to see 40-year-old spoiled multimillionaires just like acting like the least developed little kids like ever, just have not like learned to function as an adult.
How many guitars do they have?
Never. They never did.
Oh, like his collection? Oh, probably like 900 or something.
I don't know. I think like The Fall by Tarsem Singh as the director is like really excellent. I don't know. I'm also a big Cronenberg fan, so a lot of his movies are up there. I don't know. I like a lot of movies. Dark City is really mind blowing. So is Brazil.
Yeah, I feel like I watch a movie a day. So like it's very difficult for me to like remember. Last night, like Sam and I are roommates, so we watched The Hills Have Eyes.
The original one.
The original one.
Yeah.
Very entertaining. Rooting for the dog the whole time. Like killed a poodle. That was its introduction. And
Yeah, the dog was the best character.
It was so good. Everyone else was awful in it.
The way that it ended beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just like perfect ending.
Yeah.
I would like zero critique on that ending.
Yeah. Best ending in the world.
Pretty much the best ending to any horror movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. I guess the ones I come back to are like the lighthearted ones. So I think definitely the top like 5, which is all I can really think about, is like the first Wives Club. Definitely one of my favorites. I show most new friends that movie and make them sit through it, whether they like it or not. Yeah, definitely just like a lot of like the 80s style I really enjoy seeing.
You had a whole Goldie Hawn thing.
I had a whole Goldie Hawn phase, which actually turned into me just watching 5 movies on repeat. And like that was my phase, was just like these 5 movies, and I didn't even recognize that they were the same movie. That happened.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Kevin, go for it.
Kevin C.
Oh
No.
my god.
I'd say-
What
I'd-
was
I'd-
that one with the P?
The what?
The movie with the P that starts with P. You turned it on one time.
Talking about Possession?
Possession.
I would say Gummo, because that's probably just like the first like earth-shattering film I've ever seen. Like, and it still holds up for me. Like even today, just I like the stuff that resonates with me the most is things that are like really absurd that I just can't stop laughing at and almost.
Now, one of the movies that I've seen of Cronenberg recently is that Crimes of the Future movie.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I've been like putting it off.
Is that the one
It's
with
like,
his kid did?
no.
That one is where you change your body so much, it becomes like a whole icon artistic scene because you're getting into body surgery and body modifications.
Yeah.
That one was really weird, really wild.
Have you seen
Seen what?
Naked Lunch?
Oh, I definitely. Well, let's get back to your music for one second, okay? Whenever you're recording and whenever you're playing live, is there like a certain way that you guys like practice or like prepare for shows or prepare to like start working on new music? Like what's that like method for you guys?
I think it's like just drilling. I think
If it's for a show, yeah, it can get a little tricky because we all have different sound like settings in our keyboards and all of our electronic instruments, so it takes a second to like switch from one sound to the other because that stuff needs to load. But for live shit, we really try and get it as quick as possible, like as little downtime as possible. Sometimes if we have little skits or things in between the songs that can help a little bit, but really just trying to make it so there's no downtime. We're not a band to have like, how's everyone doing tonight? In between like the songs. So
So nice to be here.
So we really try and make just run the set a couple times and make sure it's all really quick. In terms of preparing to write new music, at least for me, it's a lot of just finding a bunch of interesting new sounds to put in my electronic stuff and then bring to practice and experiment and see what we can make out of that. But just I think getting new sound palettes is one of the biggest things for us to prepare to write new stuff.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's just trying to, like, when we write new stuff, I'm like trying to like figure out like where I fit and like where, like when they're making a sound, I'm like trying to figure out like what's the verse, what's the bridge, because it's very abstracted. Like I think like the guys know like when like there's a certain part changing, but from like if you're not producing that sound, it's hard to tell. So it's like I feel like my process with the writing takes pretty long because it's first like finding what parts and then writing the lyrics of in like, does this sound accurate, or is this tone of language, does this fit? Is it too on the nose? How to change it up, I guess, with like a narrative. Because it's just like, my vocals are usually pretty distorted. The most comments I get is no one can understand what I'm saying, which is helpful because if I'm personal, no one knows, you know? But it's still just like internally, I'm trying not to be too personal with songwriting.
I don't have any.
Kevin doesn't have any.
Well, like whenever like you guys are back at home and like you're doing like your practices like over these songs, is there like a certain way that you guys go about it, like tuning or like focus on parts, or is it like let's just go for the whole song at once, and then like if we don't like how that one came out, we go back and try to practice that again? I just trying to get a better feel.
I guess like we start with the songs that are new, that we're like considering. I noticed like I definitely ask for like repeating certain parts like over and over again, just like in time looping it, to like understand like how long something is. And then we run the set, we figure out if we like the musical arc of it, and then we come back to a song that either has trouble, doesn't sound exactly right, so we can time it the first time, run the set again, either time it or just kind of feel it out. And then, yeah, I think that's how that usually goes.
When we are writing new material, and let's say we have like a stanza of something that's already, we'll either almost immediately either lock it, that we all seem to agree on, we'll either almost immediately lock into the groove, or we'll keep playing around with it for, you know, like 10-15 minutes, just like jamming on it, just to see how we can like stretch it or maybe give it a different feel. And then once that's established, like write other parts around that, unless something's already brought in that's already written out in advance. But that doesn't really happen anymore.
Now I'm going to get into the last realm of the Vibo questions. So, do you have pets? And if so, what's their name? Also, do you have a favorite animal of any kind? And favorite dessert? So, pets, animal, and dessert.
Oh, give us 1 second. Here's
So this is my cat.
here's Jackie's cat.
That's a little evil thing.
Here he is.
This is my cat. Hello.
Hello.
He is a monster in a lot of respects, where he's like too smart for his own good. Definitely acts like kind of like a humanoid. Like behavioral wise, he learns my tics to get attention, like very specific. And then like Sam's tics also.
So he'll
Very
do
different
different
things.
things to annoy either of us, like, you know, in his own unique way. So like Jackie, like, you know, he'll rustle papers, and for me, he will knock over my plants. So he knows what annoys both of us the most, and will do that.
His legal name is Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity.
Yeah.
But his name is really just Rudy or Root to me. Yeah.
I don't have any pets.
I have 2 cats. Names are Frog and Peach. And my favorite dessert is key lime pie.
I forgot about
I'm a fan too.
Oh, the dessert. Oh God. Mine is just generally cake. I just cake.
Any kind?
Pretty much any cake. Yeah, like especially it has to have the frosting bit. So like whenever I get to the grocery store, I walk very slowly by the bakery. and just kind of like feel out. And I was like, should I not get a whole cake for myself? And then I just continue walking.
I would say classic like baked cheesecake. Pretty excellent.
No pets, ice cream.
Now, what about like animal? Yeah, are you guys like have like a favorite animal, like any kind in the world?
And most marsupials, other than possums, don't like those. Very scary, but kangaroos, #1.
I think my favorite one is mantis shrimp. They're pretty cool.
Penguins. Especially like warm weather, like the blue penguins.
Blue penguin.
Yeah.
Either penguins or cardinals.
So here's one about the band. How did the band name get birthed? What's the origin behind that?
Yeah, so how the band even started was like, there was this online dream journal off of Facebook that was like really popular at the time, like in like the music community, especially just like DIY community. And I would have really, and I still do have like super vivid dreams where like I can't tell if something actually happened or not in real life. It's kind of alarming sometimes. But I had a dream where I was performing at this like local bar called like the Comet, and they have like Monday night at the Comet. Like that was an event that was really popular. And I had a dream where I was peeling fruit, like physical, like making those textures and then looping the sounds. It's kind of like a little bit more ambient, and then there was like a blender in the audience. Like it was just like that was it. And then Patrick saw it, and like the original other 2 members were like very close friends of mine. And like I've never expressed musical interest, so when they saw that, they got very excited. So like it was like the show was booked like without even practicing it. So then we tried that, and it was like all right, but then I started like I had a lot of written there he is again. I had a lot of written like spoken word stuff, so we just started with that. He's like, no, interview. Okay, stop that. But yeah, that's kind of how it started for
Yeah,
me.
it was supposed to be literally loops of fruit
Yeah.
with contact breaks and stuff. So it was a literal name at first.
So whenever it became Fruit Loops, you were like, we should have changed the band name or anything. You guys didn't have any regrets after that?
Well, like we had to like shorten it actually, because we would just add as many O's as possible, and then we started realizing it was like, wait, people actually can't find us like online, or like these posters don't make sense. So we just shortened it to 3. And I'm very insistent on that.
Brilliant marketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're worried about getting sued by Kellogg's, but
We're not worried. We're like,
We want to.
we want to get sued for like to have those articles.
Yeah, they'll be taking a look anytime now, any day
Yeah.
now.
this is good press.
Yeah.
So this is the last Vibe Osmosis question, but it's an essential one. It tells us a lot about you. So, what would be your ultimate last meal? What would that be?
Last meal.
Buffet, because then it never ends.
Yeah, all you can eat buffet.
Yeah. I'm turning this a little because we have a new member. I don't know if you can see him.
Are we talking Chinese buffet? Any kind of buffet? Golden Corral?
Las Vegas style, where they've got like sushi and like steak and like, all the other stuff, all the like hibachi style, like right in your face food. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd probably be, because I'm definitely indecisive, so that would be nice to be able to kind of pick everything and pick on the moment. You seen there's a guy on YouTube right now who's making and ranking all the death row inmates' last meals.
Yeah.
It's a great watch. Some people are really
What's the name on that? What's that called?
name, but if you just look like I'm eating every death row inmate's last meal, you can find like it's all like YouTube shorts, but the one I remember is like I think John Wayne Gacy was like a whole bunch of KFC.
I remember one person was just like an entire gallon of mint chocolate chip ice cream.
That's Timothy McVeigh.
That might kill you, actually. I might give you diabetes.
I just like saved the time. Okay.
If I had any food allergies, I would definitely choose the food that I was allergic to.
Oh, I don't.
Well, I know
think
you're-
Yeah,
I-
out on my own terms.
Because like I have food allergies and like I mean the process of it is pretty slow. And the swelling of your throat and stuff like that, that's like a very slow process. So I don't know. I would personally want to go out very quickly and not think about
You
it.
can always ask for like the dangerous part of the puffer fish.
Ooh.
Like food that
I would
actually
try that too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't want that.
you get like a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, I guess my last meal was like I worked at a vegan cafe, which like I'm not vegan, I'm vegetarian. But like there was this like pita wrap with like fried like zucchini and squash, and it was just like the pita was really good. So I would like go back in time, find that exact bread, and that would be my last meal. Rudy's would be lasagna,
No, his would be like an entire roast chicken,
entire roast chicken, lasagna on top,
bones and all.
bones and all. That would be Rudy's meal. Yeah. I think those are things. Kevin.
I'm never gonna die.
Yeah, okay.
Like no last meal on this one.
Yeah.
So before we go, anybody you want to shout out?
shout out to the fifth member that's not here.
Yeah, shout
It's,
out to Eric Dietrich.
Eric Dietrich plays aerophone and sometimes real saxophone.
Yeah,
I don't know what his name means.
don't know what his name means.
I don't know
He
his
definitely
age
knows-
either.
We
definitely-
don't know his age.
But he's a real cool guy. He's finishing up his last day on the road with the Drin.
Mhm.
Very cool. I'll take a look. Take a dive.
Yeah, I think that's. Do you have any shout outs?
Shout out to John Hoffman for producing us. Shout out to Michael Squarey for producing our song that'll be out in a little bit undisclosed time. Shout out to Maddie Barra for mastering our last couple things. Shout out to Torn Light Records for putting out our album. Yeah.
General shout out to like anyone who has participated in our show that's not in our band. Like they have always been very involved and very excited, and they're not getting paid to be there, which is just like
Definitely.
yeah, very like shout out to all of them. I think there's been too many to actually name off.
We love our friends.
We love our friends. That's the
Yeah.
shout out.
Well, I appreciate you all taking the time to join Vibe Osmosis today. I hope that today is a good rest of your day and it's been fun. It's been a really sweet interview. I'll keep you all posted on this information, all right?
Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
so
us.
much. Have a good day. Peace out.
Have a good one.
Bye.